Hey there, it's Jessica, Customer Success Team Member here at REISift. Today, I wanted to touch base with you about CRM capabilities and how to accomplish really quickly, I'm hoping in 30 minutes or less, we'll check back at the end of this video, set up a fully functioning CRM in REISift. So what I mean by that is have all the statuses, tasks, pipelines or SIF line boards and automations or sequences set up to be able to run your sales and lead management right inside of REISift. So without further ado, let's hop in and see how quickly we can accomplish this. The first thing I'm going to go is going to statuses. We do have many statuses here that are default, but I do want to make some custom ones. So I'm going to create a custom status called no contact new lead. This will be for any leads that come into the system or that you mark as a lead or get sent in from PPC or whatever the case is, you go to contact them, you don't reach them right away. This is a status to assign to a new lead when you're trying to engage them and make contact with them. Then the other three that we're going to make are cold lead, warm lead, hot lead. These are used to qualify leads based on how quickly they would like to sell and how motivated they are. All right, so that is it for custom statuses. Quick, easy. Next, we're going to make some tasks that we can use for follow-up with leads. I'm going to use task presets. So I'm going to go here into task presets. And the first thing I'm going to do is make a lead management group. Okay. And the first task I'm going to make is a call new lead task. To assign to records when they first become a lead. I'm going to choose user round robin. This means that it can bounce between people despite their roles. However, I'm just going to assign it to myself. You can also assign it to bounce between lead managers. Some people like to make this do in 0 day or 1 day. I'm going to do 1 day for now, and that is our first task. Next, I'm going to make a no contact, a series of no contact new lead tasks. So I'm going to do no contact new lead follow up 1. And I'm going to copy that, make that due in 1 day. Again, assign it to myself. Then I'm going to make another one, 2, assign that to myself. And then I'm going to make another one, 3. So for the first 3 days after a new lead comes in, I'm going to follow up every day trying to engage that new lead if they're not answering. And then after that first 3 days, I'm going to make a task called no contact new lead nurture. And I'm going to make that do a week. And what I'm going to do in a little bit when we set up our sequences is make it to where this task loops. All right, so that's my no contact new lead tasks. Now I'm going to make my follow-up for once they're qualified. So I'm going to do a cold follow-up due in 45 days. So it's going to be due in 45 days. Again, to your lead manager. Next, I'm going to do one for my warm. So I'm going to make that one due in 15 days, warm follow-up 15 days, due in 15 days. Next, I'm going to do a hot follow-up for my hot leads. I'm going to do that one every 2 days. One thing to keep in mind as I'm setting this up, everything is fully customizable. So you change it to what works best for your processes. But here I'm giving you a quick outline of a way to have a really quick functioning CRM. I'm also going to make a task here in lead management called send back to lead management. So it's going to be called send back to lead management review. I'm going to have that assigned to my lead manager and due in a day. This is for the purpose of if a lead gets passed up to the acquisitions process or gets into that flow and then they realize, okay, they're not really ready for offers, they can pass it back down to the lead manager to review and reassess. All right, next I'm just going to make 2 acquisitions tasks. So I'm going to make a new group called acquisitions. I'm going to make a make offer task. Due in 1 day, assigned to whoever you would like. I'm going to do myself here. And then I'm also going to do an offer follow-up task. Again, do in one day. Again, you can adapt that to what works for you. And then I'm just going to make one transactions task. You can make as many tasks as you would like, but I'm keeping it a little simple. If I could spell, there we go. Oops. And in this one, it's just going to be process that new contract. Do in one day, assigned to person. Okay. All right. So that is all of our tasks. Next, we're going to make our SIF line boards. So SIF line boards are our pipelines or Kanban boards here. So I'm going to make a few. I'm going to make a lead management one. We're going to start with that one. Here you can do permissions. If it's on read, that means they can only view it. If it's read and write, they can move the cards around. Admin, they can edit, delete, do anything they want to the board. This is default to where the sensei or the owner of the account can do anything anyways, but then everybody else can just read. You can do permissions by role, by user, or by everybody. All right, so I'm going to add some phases here, and I'm going to start typing in. So the first thing, a new lead gets a lead gets generated. It's going to pop up here on the board. The next phase will be no contact new lead, which means they're unqualified. Then we have our qualified leads. So we have cold leads, warm leads, and hot leads. Okay, then we have send to acquisitions, so they're ready to hear offers. Then I'm going to make a space here for needs review. So if acquisitions has to pass it back down to lead management, there's a spot for them to review the deal. Then I just have some of the other outcomes, right? Lost the deal, became a buyer. Again, adapt this to what works for you. Not interested anymore. Or just it's not a deal, like it's not a viable deal. All right, so that's it for our lead management board. I'm going to click Save Board. Next, I'm going to make an acquisitions board to track offers. Oh, I even spelled it right first try. That's not usual for me. All right, so the first phase for this one would be either go on appointment slash, oops, let me copy that again. Appointment slash make offer. Make a few more phases here. Then we have offer follow-up, offer rejected, offer accepted verbally, but they haven't signed the contract yet, under contract, referred lead, and then we have lost deal. So positive outcome, it's under contract, it's going to move to another board. We could refer the lead to someone else. We lost the deal, that's a negative outcome. And then last one will be send back to lead management. Like if we just know they need to be nurtured a little more, we can send it back to lead management. They can review that. All right, so that's our acquisitions board. Next, we're going to do a transactions board. So once it's under contract, we have new contract, waiting on title. Again, remember this is fully customizable, so if these phases aren't quite to, your flow, you adapt it to what works for you. I know I probably said that a couple times in this video, but it bears reminding that it doesn't have to be the exact same way that we set it up in a video. It can be, or you can adapt it to meet your needs. So we have closed here, and then last we will have lost deal. All right, that's the three main boards. You can also have boards for your exit strategies. So I'm going to make a quick wholesale flip and rental board. For these, you would just make the exit strategies that you use. So I'm going to do a wholesale board. And it's just going to have a few phases here. Okay, so new contract. pushing VIP buyers, pushing all buyers, buyer found, assigned, and then the deal fell through, like the negative outcome. All right, save. Then we'll make a flipboard. Okay, so it would be new flip, demo, rehab, rehab complete, listed, sold. Save that one. And then lastly, we will make a rental board. And we have new rental, demo, rehab, rehab complete, listed rent, and rented. All right, that is it for our boards. So we have a way to manage the process plus some options there for our exit strategy boards. The very last step is sequences. We're going to tie this all together and we're going to make some automations where cards get automatically added to boards or move to different phases or tasks are assigned. So this part is probably, the part that would takes the longest amount of time, but it's well worth it. So let's go ahead and make 3 folders here. I'm going to make a lead management folder, acquisitions, and transactions. All right, I'm going to make my first sequence. This one is the new lead sequence. So when a new lead comes in, so a property status changes, and that changes from anything to new lead, we're going to set the following actions. We are going to, these first 2 are optional. We can either assign it to the lead manager or just clear the assignee so it's no longer assigned to another position. And then we can also clear any old property tasks for the same reason. But these 2 steps are essential. We're going to create a new card in the lead management board in the new lead section, and we are going to assign the task we made or create the new task, which is to call the new lead. So choose the preset, call new lead, save that sequence. Right, so now whenever a lead comes in, either you change the status manually, it gets pushed in from Zapier, from a PPC or a website, it gets pushed over from one of our integration partners. As soon as that status changes to new lead, it's going to be added to the board with a task. All right, the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and make our acquisitions sequence too. So this one would be when a card is moved. For a lot of these, the trigger will be moving the card. And I will, in this article, we'll attach a video where I show like how the cards move through the boards as well. For this video, I'm just going to show the setup, the sequences. If you want to see how the cards actually move through the board, how the tasks are assigned, I have a separate video that shows that as well. All right, so when a card is moved, so we're going to call this the make offer sequence in the acquisitions folder. When a card is moved and it's moved from lead management, anywhere on lead management into the column that says send to acquisitions, we're going to set the following actions. We're going to clear tasks because you'll see we're going to be assigning follow-up tasks that loop. And then we're going to move the card off of the lead management board into the acquisitions board in the make offer column. And we're going to assign a task, make a new task, which is that make offer task that we made. Okay, save that sequence. The other acquisitions sequence that we're going to make is to send it back to lead management if they're not really ready to hear offers. So for that one, I'm going to do when a card is moved, and it's moved from anywhere on acquisitions into the acquisitions phase, which is send back to lead management, I'm going to set the following actions. I'm going to clear any tasks that were currently on it. I'm going to move the card back to the lead management board in the needs review phase, and I'm going to assign a task to review that lead and put it in its appropriate phase. So this would be send back to lead management in the acquisitions folder, save. Okay, so that kind of creates a loop there where I can pass it from lead management to acquisitions, and then I could pass it back to lead management if needed. Then I'm going to go ahead and let me move this into the lead management folder. I forgot to select the folder, no big deal. All right, then I'm going to make my transactions sequence. I only have one for that, and that's just going to be my under contract sequence. Again, it's going to be moving the card. That is the trigger. So when I move the card, I should be like making offers. So it'd be on the acquisitions board, anywhere on there, into the acquisitions phase, which is under contract. I'm going to set the following actions. I am going to clear any old tasks. I am going to move the card onto the lead management stage, our lead management board, or sorry, off of acquisitions onto the transactions board in the new contract phase. And then one more thing I like to do is to change the status to under contract. Okay, and save that one. Okay, so now we have a way to pass it from lead management to acquisitions, pass it from acquisitions to transactions board. I can also send it back to lead management if necessary. Now what I need to do is on the board, so I have a way to move it to acquisitions, move it to transactions, move it back if needed. What I need to do now is create some follow-up tasks based on these categories here. So if I have a cold lead, I want to automatically assign a cold lead task, a warm lead task, a hot lead task, and I want that to loop if possible. And in the no contact new lead, I want to create some tasks there. So sequences, we're doing good on time, only at 17 minutes. So I think we are going to be able to be underneath 30 minutes like the plan was. All right, let's make that first. We'll do the no contact new lead tasks first. So I'm going to do no contact new lead. I'm going to do an arrow, and I'm going to say we're assigning follow-up 1. So we just moved it into the new contact, no contact phase. So we got a new lead, called it, they didn't answer, whatever the case is, and I want to follow up to try to re-engage them. I'm going to assign my first follow-up. So when a card is moved, again, for most of these, the trigger will be moving the card into the column, and that card is moved from anywhere on lead management into the no contact new lead. I'm going to set the following actions. I'm always going to clear property tasks because I don't want any old tasks from other stages, especially because we'll be looping things. And then I am going to change the status to no contact new lead. And I am going to assign the first task, which is that no contact new lead follow-up 1. Okay, I'm going to copy this name so I don't have to retype the whole thing, put it in my lead management folder, and save. So when I first move it in there, I'll get assigned follow-up 1. Then I'm going to assign follow-up 2. Now this one's a little different, so we're going to say when a task is completed, and that task is follow-up 1, I'm going to assign follow-up 2. Lead management, save. All right, then we're going to do one more like that. No contact new lead follow-up to 3. When a task is completed, and that task is follow-up 2, I'm going to assign follow-up 3. Put it in lead management, done. All right. So now when it goes in there, I'm going to try, you would try every day for 3 days to try to engage that new lead. Then we're going to go to like a 1 week kind of nurture for as long as you would like to. So we're going to loop that. So I'm going to do nurture. Oh, I must have caps locks on. Nurture. All right, so we are going to say when a task is completed, and that task is nurture. Oh, sorry. Let me fix that. When follow-up 3 is completed, we're going to assign nurture. All right. And I'm actually going to name this start nurture. And then lastly, I want that to loop so that it gets assigned every week until I move it out of that phase. So I'm going to make one more. It's going to be called the nurture loop. And I'm going to say when a task is completed, and that task is the nurture task, we're going to create a new task, which is that same nurture task. So it's just going to loop that nurture task for as long as I keep it in that phase. Okay, put it in lead management, save. All right, we're done with no contact new lead. So now we just need to do our cold, warm, and hot tasks, and then one more when the deal closes, okay? So I'm going to create one when we first qualify it as a cold lead. We're going to do that by moving the card into the cold lead phase. So when a card moves from anywhere in lead management into cold lead, we're going to set some actions. We're going to clear tasks in case there's any old tasks. We're going to change the status to cold lead. And we're going to assign a task to call that cold lead in 45 days. Right, so this is going to be a new cold lead in the lead management phase folder and save. Now I want to loop that. So when I complete that first 45-day task, I want to assign another task in 45 days. So I'm going to call that the cold lead loop. Put it in my lead management folder when a task is completed, and that task is cold follow-up. I'm going to assign another task, and that will be another cold follow-up. So in the cold phase, it will just loop, keep assigning that until you move it out of, hopefully, into send to acquisitions. All right, we're going to do the same exact thing for warm leads and hot leads. So create a new sequence. We're going to have a new warm lead when a card is moved into the warm lead phase. Set the following actions: clear any old tasks, change the status to warm lead, and lastly, assign a task, create a task, which is the first warm lead task. In lead management and save. And then we're going to do a warm lead loop. Swift line card. Oh, nope, nope, nope. Let me cancel. Whew, even teachers make mistakes sometimes. Let's try again. Warm lead loop. The trigger for this one's not moving the card, it's task. So when a task is completed, and that task is the first time you do a warm lead or whenever you do a warm lead, it's going to assign another warm lead. Put that in the lead management folder and save. And then we just got to do it for hot leads. So we're going to do new hot lead in the lead management when a card is moved from anywhere into hot lead. Set the following actions: clear any old tasks, change the status to hot lead, and assign the first task. Yay. And then last one for lead management, hot lead loop. When a task is completed, and that task is hot follow-up, we're going to assign another hot follow-up. Put it in lead management and save. Yay. All right, that's all of the lead sequences. The only other thing I want to do is if we move it into closed, I'd like to change the status to closed. So I'm going to make one more. It's going to be called the closed status, closed deal status, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to say when a card is moved on the transactions board, anywhere on transactions, into on transactions closed. Oh, look, I mistyped transactions. We can fix that. Closed. So if we move it from anywhere on transactions into closed, we can set some actions, which would be just to clear any tasks that were on the property just in case, and to change the status to closed. All right, that is, I'll put that in the transactions folder. That's it. You have, it took me 26 minutes. In 26 minutes, you have a fully functioning boards for lead management, acquisitions, transactions. Are there more, I'm just going to edit this real quick to put an S at the end. Are there, a few more things we could do or add in? Sure, absolutely. But for the most part, you have a flow here. You have, if a lead comes in, it's going to get added here and a task is added. If it's moved into these phases, you have follow-up tasks. It will move it to the acquisitions board. If it's on acquisitions, you'll get a make offer task. You move it under contract, it'll move to the transactions board. On the transactions board, you have a way to manage that process, right? Then you can move them onto the appropriate exit strategy board. If you want to see a card move through here, we can link below my video showing like a flow once this is already set up, how a property moves through these boards. And that's it, guys. I hope that was helpful. We set up a lead management, acquisitions, transactions, pipeline sequences, tasks, and statuses in less than 30 minutes. And you're good to go. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.